Hello, my name is Mia Kolakowski, and my major is currently undeclared. In this video, I'll be discussing cybersecurity and international relations. I recently wrote a research paper on this topic and have gained a good amount of knowledge. As our world becomes increasingly digital, cybersecurity is no longer just a technological issue. It's a global political concern that affects national security, international cooperation, and the balance of power. My goal today is to explain why cybersecurity matters in global politics and how nations are responding to the new challenges of the digital age. So, what does cybersecurity mean in the context of international relations? In simple terms, it's the point where technology and global politics meet. Countries today must protect their digital systems not only from criminals, but from other nations. This includes preventing attacks, securing national data, countering cyber espionage, and building rules for how states behave online. Essentially, cybersecurity has become a major part of diplomacy, defense strategies, and global negotiations. Cybersecurity matters because nearly every part of modern life relies on digital systems. Economies depend on online banking, militaries rely on digital communication, power grids, water systems, and hospitals all run on interconnected networks. A cyber attack in one country can affect dozens of others within seconds. And unlike traditional warfare, cyber attacks often occur quietly and anonymously. This creates uncertainty and tension in international relationships. Some experts even argue that cyber attacks now pose the same threat level as physical attacks. That's how central cybersecurity has become. When we think about global cyber threats, there are several major categories. One is state-sponsored hacking, where countries attack each other's networks to steal information or disrupt operations. Another is cyber espionage, which targets political, economic, or military data. We also have attacks on critical infrastructure, such as electrical grids or medical systems, which can have dangerous real-world consequences. Additionally, there is cyber terrorism, and finally, disinformation campaigns, where nations manipulate online information to influence elections or public opinion. Together, these threats show how broad and complicated cybersecurity challenges have become. Some major cyber incidents help illustrate the global impact of these threats. In 2010, the Stuxnet virus, believed to be a US-Israeli operation, damaged Iran's nuclear facilities. It was one of the first examples of cyber tools causing physical destruction. In 2016, several countries experienced election interference campaigns that used hacking and misinformation to influence political outcomes. In 2017, the WannaCry ransomware attack, linked to North Korea, affected organizations in 150 countries, including hospitals and businesses. More recently, in 2020, the SolarWinds breach, attributed to Russian intelligence, compromised U.S. government agencies and major companies. These incidents show that cyber attacks are no longer rare. They are shaping global politics. Because of these rising threats, many nations now consider cyberspace the fifth domain of warfare, alongside land, sea, air, and space. Countries are creating cyber armies, investing in offensive cyber capabilities, and developing strategies to respond to major attacks. However, cyber warfare is tricky. It often happens below the level of traditional war. For example, a country may hack another country's infrastructure without firing a single shot. This creates legal and ethical challenges. When does a cyber attack count as an act of war? How should nations respond? These questions are still being debated. Even though countries compete in cyberspace, cooperation is also essential. The United Nations has been working on creating norms for responsible state behavior online. NATO has declared that a major cyber attack could trigger collective defense. The Budapest Convention helps nations coordinate on cybercrime investigations, and many countries, including the US, Japan, South Korea, and members of the EU, have created bilateral agreements to share intelligence and strengthen cyber defense. These efforts show that cybersecurity is not just a national issue, it requires global coordination. Despite these efforts, there are still major challenges. First, there is no universal agreement on global cyber laws. Second, it's often difficult to determine who launched a cyber attack, which makes accountability hard. Another issue is that countries have different perspectives on privacy, surveillance, and internet freedom. For example, democratic nations and authoritarian nations often have conflicting views about how the internet should be controlled. On top of that, technology evolves so quickly that governments struggle to keep up. All of these challenges make cooperation both necessary and extremely difficult. Looking ahead, several trends will shape the future of cybersecurity and international relations. Artificial intelligence will play a huge role in both cyber attacks and cyber defense. We're also witnessing a cyber arms race among major powers like the US, China, and Russia. Protecting critical infrastructure is becoming more important as systems become more automated. We also see a rise in digital authoritarianism, where some governments use cyber tools to monitor citizens and control online information. This creates new political tensions worldwide. All of these trends show that cybersecurity is becoming even more central to global power dynamics. To conclude, cybersecurity has become one of the most important issues in international relations. It affects national security, global stability, and everyday life. As cyber threats grow more advanced, nations must work to develop rules, build trust, and strengthen cooperation. The future of global stability increasingly depends on how the world manages conflicts and peace in the digital realm. Thank you.